First of all, big shout out to RABBI and Daniel, right? I don't even know. I really don't know how I ended up here. I was landing on a flight on Sunday night, and I got a text from, I think, Daniel, and he was just like, listen, there's this class I know that goes on in Miami every single Wednesday night. You know, a group of very special people comes to learn. And he asked me just to come and share a few words, and I really, again, I have no idea. You know, I don't know most of the people in the room, but I just wanted to start off by saying that I think regardless of where you are in the world, when Jews come together to learn Torah, it doesn't matter whether it's in Los Angeles, Miami, New York, Israel, Australia, it doesn't make a difference. When Jews come together, this really, in my opinion, is exactly what's going to be the tikkun, and it's going to be the solution for everything that we just went through this last week and the last 3 weeks. This is the tikkun. Everyone wants to know how we don't get to a Tisha B'Av next year. I know we're all so burnt out of it. Everyone's already past it. We have 365 days not to think about it. But I think the idea is just to realize that when you guys come together to learn Torah, Jews come together, and they want to grow, they want to get closer to Hashem, this is exactly what's going to rebuild the Beit HaMikdash. Every single person sitting here is going to come with their stone to the Beit HaMikdash, with the zechut of that they're putting in to come, putting the effort, putting the time to get closer in some way. So Mizat Hashem with Hashem himself, we should all get an inspiration.
They want to come see you.
The what?
They want to come see you.
Let him in. Okay. So I'm going to open up with a question, if possible. Has anyone in the crowd here been to Harvard University?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I visited.
Visited? Has anyone ever went and was a student in Harvard? Not yet? Right here. Yeah, you have one? You were there? A little bit? Okay. So I heard this story, maybe you'll verify if it's true. All right. Basically, a professor gets up at Harvard University and he asks a question to the class. He's like, guys, I gotta ask everyone a question right now. I want every single person to take out your notebook, take out your pen. I'm gonna ask you all one simple question. And they go, okay, no problem, what is it? You know, they're doing quantum physics, they're doing math, they're doing science, real estate. What is the professor gonna teach them on? He says, guys, everyone take out your notebook. I don't want anyone to look at the 30 people in the class. I want every single person to rate, just like how you would grade on a test, right? A, B, C, D, F. He said, I want you to grade, you know who? They said who? They said, you want us to grade the movie we saw this weekend at the AMC? You want us to grade, you know, the test we had over here? You want us to grade what we think of the teacher? He's like, no. He said, I want every single person here to grade the author. He said, the author of what? He says, I want you guys to grade the author of the world. I want every single person here to give a rating to God. So they look around and they say, what do you mean give a rating to God? What are you talking about? He says exactly what I said. I want everyone here to give God, whether you think he deserves an A, a B, a C, D, or an F. What do you think God deserves for his creation of the world? Again, we're all here for one purpose, is to enjoy life, is to be happy, right? To have a good time. What would you rate God? Would you give him an A? Would you give him a C? So this is what the professor gives over to the class. The class is sitting there, they're like, what a strange question. How do you rate God? So whatever, he starts going through, every guy writes up their letter. They give it back to the teacher collects 35, he goes through all the answers. He said, no one here got the answer right. He said, if any of you guys would have got the correct answer, I would have given you $1,000. Not one person in the class got it right. And this is a science teacher speaking. He's a very logical person. They say, how do you know we didn't get it right? Read out our answers. He said, okay. He said, half the class voted A, 10 people voted B, another 5 people voted C. So they said, which one is the right one? They said, is it A? He said, raise your hand if you voted A. One guy raised his hand. He said, okay, why'd you vote A? He says, what do you mean? God is so beautiful. He made the sun. He made the stars. I can breathe. I have a family. I have a car. I have friends. Life is good. Life is chilling. Well, what's there to complain about? Okay, then he goes, why'd you give him a B? He says, I agree with A. It's great and everything, but at the same time, I can't deny the fact that, sometimes I get a parking ticket. Sometimes there's insurance. There's taxes. God created some headaches along the way. Okay, and then he goes, what do you give C? Like, what were the 5 that gave C? So they start raising their hands. He says, my parents got divorced. I broke up with my girlfriend. I'm depressed. He gets a C. Yeah, life is great and everything, but my life also has a lot of stuff I don't like in it. So everyone's sitting there, they're hearing the different answers, and the professor says, you're all wrong. He said, God gets an F, minus. Class goes, Professor, why are you being so negative? What happened? You didn't hear what we just said about God? He said, no, 100% God gets an F minus. The worst grade you can give God, that's what he deserves. So everyone thinks the science teacher is against God. What does this guy believe? He said, they ask him, are you an atheist? You believe in God? He says, of course I believe in God, but he deserves an F. So they say, explain, why does he deserve an F? So they say, he says something like this, unbelievable. He says, look at it from this perspective. If you're God, what does the definition of God mean? God means he could have done anything, like we learned in Sefer Bereshit, very pashut, right? Bereshit bar Elokim, Hashem, the first words of the Torah, right? Hashem in the beginning created everything. Hashem created from the beginning to the end. Hashem is in charge. Great. So the science teacher says, I'm with you. If Hashem could have created everything, and we're all here to have a good time, like you guys said, and to be happy, and to have fun and enjoy, then forget the guy who gave him a C. Why would you create disease? Why would Hashem create cancer? Why is there coronavirus? Why is there divorce? Why is there emotional pain? Why can't people get married? Why is it that there's a lady that's trying to give birth and the baby dies? The teacher says, I don't get it. God deserves an F-. Why? Because if he could have done anything, and the purpose here was to have a great time, and he created anything but the perfect experience, then he failed. It's like, I'll give you an example. Imagine I said, I'm going to raise money for my shul. So I go out and I say, okay, they bring me to Miami, and they're like, there's this billionaire guy. He's sitting at the St. Regis on the roof. He wants to meet you. He said he wants to fly you in from Los Angeles. He wants to give you money for your shul. He just closed a huge hedge fund, and he wants to give a big donation to Judaism and to outreach and to Kiruv. So I say, amazing. I travel to Miami. I go up there. I'm excited for this meeting. I get there to his office. The secretary's there. She's like, you know, Mr. James will be with you in a minute. Just wait 1 second. I go in his office. This guy comes in, and he goes, Rabbi, I'm so happy you came in from Los Angeles. I know when you left your family, it was a big travel, but it's going to be worth your time. He sits there and he's like, listen, I just made a couple $1 billion. This is for your outreach. Go change the world. So he gives me the envelope, but he says, I don't want you to be embarrassed in front of me. Oh, do me a favor, open it when you get to your house. I said, okay, no problem. I fly back to LA. I get home. I open up the envelope, and what's inside? A $1 bill. Imagine. So what would I say? Is the guy good? Of course he's good. He did chesed. He gave me charity. He didn't have to. But if the guy's worth $1 billion and he decided to give me $1, then what would I give the person in terms of chesed? Says the science professor, it's very simple logic. If God created the world for you to enjoy, to have a good time, then God gets an F. 100%, minus, 0. Because if he was here to give you a good time, and he filled it up with all these things that are so negative, that didn't have to be there, so then you're forced to come to a conclusion. And this is where we start the SHUIR. There's 3 doors every Jew has to pick in life. It's very simple. And again, I'm not here to give you my opinion. I'm literally giving you scientific facts. Take with it what you want to do with it. But this is something that, personally for me, 10 years ago, I wasn't so religious, really changed my life because it really opens your eyes. Imagine the 3 doors. This is the only reality we can see. Based on what the science professor is showing, you really only have these 3 ways to go. A, you could choose that God does not exist, which is logical. You could say I'm an atheist. You could say I'm agnostic. I don't know that Hashem exists, but I can't prove that he doesn't exist. Okay, fine, so you're in the middle. So you can go to a B. Or you can just say, I don't believe in Hashem, he doesn't exist. You know, how did the world happen? Big Bang, the whole thing exploded, and it was all by chance that we're here. Okay, that's a very viable option. That's logical. If anyone comes and wants to debate that after, I have nothing to say to you. You're right. Go to a science professor and argue with him. I don't know. That's option A. Very logical. I don't believe in God. Option B, I believe in God. Of course, Hashem exists. I believe in the Torah. I believe in the mitzvot. But Hashem is evil. Hashem is evil. He created the world to screw with every single one of us and to poke each one of us, to mess with us. And every time life is good, he wanted to get at us and annoy everybody and give this guy that problem and that guy that problem and put this guy through that pain and give that guy that parents and give that guy that wife. And this one's not going to get married till he's 40 and this on this. So no problem. I believe God exists. No problem. I won't debate you. But God is evil. Again, there's nothing to debate there. It all makes sense. God created the world. He exists. And he wanted to screw around with everybody. So that's what he felt like doing. Chas v'shalom. Then there's door number 3, which is what I personally believe, and I hope we can explore tonight, and I hope it will make the most sense to everybody. Door number 3 means Hashem, of course, exists. Of course we know Hashem exists. Why did Hashem create the world? Is he good or is he evil? Of course Hashem is good. So how could Hashem be good if he created the world, and he says, I created the world to give to you. I created the world for you to enjoy. It must mean that our purpose in this world must be different than what we think it is. But as long as you think that the purpose of you being in this world is to have a good time, enjoy, and be happy, and you believe Hashem exists and he created the world, then you are forced to say he doesn't exist or he's evil, or the purpose has to change. You can't have all 3. It logically is a paradox. It doesn't make sense. Because if he's not there, fine. If he is there, he's evil. If he's there and he's not evil, then why is he doing this to us? I guarantee you, I don't even know 99% of this room. I promise you, if you sat down in the afternoon, we sat in an office probably for an hour, no matter how happy you look on Instagram and how great your life is and whatever it is, I promise you there's something there. I promise you, I've never met anyone in my life that doesn't have something that they're dealing with. It doesn't exist. That's not the way Hashem made the world. That's not the way it is. Why would Hashem do this? So that's what we're going to explore tonight. What is the purpose of creation if Hashem exists? And obviously we know, like it says in the Torah many times, Hashem created the world only to give us goodness. Hashem is the ultimate good. It says in Mesilas Yesharim, Ratzon Yisbarach L'Heitud means Hashem's desire, direct desire, is to give a person good. So why would Hashem say that I exist, and I'm here to give you good, and He does all these things to us? So this is what we're going to get into now. So the first thing we have to define in order to get this answer is what is happiness. This is something that no matter how many times you learn it, you can be very religious, you could be a rabbi, it doesn't make a difference. It's so easy to get sucked in because you live in a place like the United States, whether it's LA, Miami, it doesn't make a difference. There's so much stuff out there that attracts us and tries to trick us into what is happiness and how we define it. What people think happiness is, very simply, if you ask most people on the street, what's happiness? When I go out to the restaurant, I have a steak. When I go have a good time, I go out with my friends on the beach, I go on a vacation, I'm relaxing. People mix up the definition of happiness, which what they think it is, pleasure. People think that happiness is pleasure. When I'm eating good food, when I'm having a good time, when I'm having fun, I'm watching a movie, I'm enjoying, I'm chilling, a person says to himself, this is true happiness. The problem with that though is, if you think about it, if you look inside the entire Torah, you look inside the whole thing from the beginning of the Torah to the end, there's not one time in the entire Sefer Torah where you find the word fun. There is no word for fun. There's a word for pleasure, there's a word for simcha, tainig is pleasure, simcha is happiness. But in the entire Torah, you look through the entire thing, all the parashot, there's no word for fun. Why? Because Hashem knows smarter than us that the definition of happiness is not fun. And that's what the world is trying to trick you to think that it is. And I'll prove to you why it's not. It's a very simple observation we can all make. Think about all the people in the world, maybe you know them on a personal level, maybe you watch them on TV, it doesn't make a difference. Every single person looks around, you see a rich guy, you see a celebrity, right? Why is it that if the person has everything, which defines pleasure and how we're defining it, he has a good time, he can buy whatever he wants, he can be with anyone he wants, he can get any car, any house, he has all the fame, whatever it is, why is it that you see so many times that these people are so miserable? I live in Los Angeles, I grew up in Hollywood. Every single time you go to the supermarket, you look at the register, what do you see? You see how this celebrity got divorced? You see how this celebrity is injecting cocaine? Why? I'm asking, what goes wrong for these people? Why is it that these people that have all the money, they have all the love, all the attention, they can buy any house they want, all of a sudden you see them and they have such a problem in their life. There's so many things that are missing. Like I'm sure everyone is very young. You know the kid from Home Alone? The little kid, right? Macaulay Culkin, whatever his name was. That guy, now it's Macaulay Crackhead, right? Why is that? Because the kid was a happy kid, he was the superstar, he was the blonde kid, he had everything. But what happened is all of a sudden he's 30, and all of a sudden the guy's overdosing in his hotel room. What went wrong? What happened? Why does this guy need to do this? Why do you see this so often by people that have so much physical pleasure, all of a sudden get this super intense feeling of depression? And the answer is very simple. Because a person comes to the realization that once you have everything physical, once you get it, once you have it, you begin to realize that physicality is the most empty experience in the world. It's great in the moment, but the moment is over, you have nothing. So people look at this guy and they're like, wow, he's so rich. He has this, he has that. But you look at it for a second and say to yourself, wait a second. When you love having a steak, you're having it, right? Are you still happy off the steak you had a month ago? Are you still so happy about the vacation you had a year ago with your friends? If you got married, are you still happy about your wedding day so much? Physicality passes through. Physicality moves forward. Physicality doesn't stay with you. Why? Because physicality is pleasure in the moment. What this world is trying to sell you is that happiness is pleasure in the moment. If you want to have a good life, enjoy the moment. Enjoy every single thing you see, and you will be happy. But again, the proof is what you see in the world. You see people that have everything, and they're so miserable. They have nothing. They have all the physical pleasures, but it's not enough because they come to the realization that pleasure doesn't make them happy. I'll give you the ultimate proof to what we're saying here. You know what the proof is to what makes a person happy? Thank you. Look at Donald Trump, the president of the United States, right? I think everyone in this room is very, very clearly smart enough to understand. This guy's not running for president because he really cares that much, I think, about the country and this and that. I love the guy. I'm voting for him too. But I don't think at the end of the day, that's his intention. You know why Trump is running for president? Why is he not sitting on Mar-a-Lago? Tell me, what does he not have? He has all the money. He has a beautiful house. He has a beautiful car. Any vacation, any this, any that. Why is he chasing around fighting with politicians and headaches and destroying his family name? Exactly. Why? Because the physicality doesn't do it for him. The physicality, he's already surpassed it. The physicality was great. It pleasured him. It was nice. It was exciting. But you know what? It's not enough. It's not enough. The first thing we need to get absolutely clear is, in this world, physicality will not make you happy. It's nice, it's fun, it's great in the moment. There's nothing wrong with having fun, go have a good time. But if that becomes your life's mission, you will be miserable because you're going to get to something that you think is amazing, a huge facade. You open the door and there's nothing behind it. It's a Pandora, it's nothing inside, empty. I'll give you guys an example. What do you guys define as a midlife crisis? Everyone's heard this term? I used to think midlife crisis, which I'm sure people have thought as well. Midlife crisis means what? When the guy reaches midlife, so let's say average life is 80 years old, the guy hits 40, and he's depressed. He gets a midlife crisis. Why is the 40-year-old depressed?
He's more old than young.
What? He's more old than young, very good.
40 years to live.
He's got 40 years to live, very good. But you know what I thought? This is what I found out. Exactly what you said. But the twist is, you would think a guy who's in midlife crisis is the guy that what? He's the guy that's a loser. It's 40 years to live, he only has 40 years left, and he's like, yo, what have I done with my life? Right? And he's like, I didn't get married yet, I didn't have kids yet, I didn't establish a business, life is slipping by me, I'm depressed, midlife crisis. You read about it and you understand midlife crisis is actually talking about the general population of people that have everything. Midlife crisis means that you're the rich guy that's a CEO, that has 5 kids, successful, that's taking a vacation in the Bahamas with your wife, everything is fantastic, and that guy is what's talking about that says he has a midlife crisis. Why? Because it's teaching you that even when you're at the top, even when you have it all, you can think you have everything, you reach 40 years old and you're like, wait a second, I'm 40 years old, I can have it all, but at 40 years old, it's all over. At 40 years old, this is all gonna be behind me, I have nothing else. And when that happens, a person starts to get that inner depression of, what am I doing with my life? What is my life all about? What am I here to do? Again, I'm successful, everything's great, but 40 years left, they're gonna put me 6 feet under the ground. What did I accomplish? What am I going to take with me? So this is what we have to understand. Pleasure is not happiness. As much as it might seem like that in society, we got to get it clear. Pleasure is not happiness. What is true happiness? Very simple. Does anyone know? One word.
It's a state of being.
Very good. State of being, state of mind.
Growth.
Growth. Very good.
Purpose.
Purpose.
I would say purpose, meaningfulness, gratefulness, and
All the
It's
above.
having strong emunah, right?
Very good. So everything you guys just said is all the right answer. I'm gonna make it one word, my own word that's gonna define it, love, all included. What is the definition simply for the SHUIR we're giving? The simplest way to say happiness, which is a direct definition of emunah when you look it up. Emunah means productivity. Productivity is the definition of happiness, which is purpose, which is meaning, which is love, it's gratefulness, all the above, is being a productive human being. If a person wants to be happy, he needs to be productive. Productivity is what takes a person to true, real happiness. When a person wants to be happy, if you think about it, why is the people that are making millions of dollars every single year trying to make more money? Why is Trump running for office again? Why is it that maybe you have an uncle or someone, he's killing it, and you're like, why doesn't the guy retire and he keeps going? Because whether they know it or not, they line up with what the Ramchal says. All a person wants to feel in this world is happiness. And the only happiness that you're gonna feel is true productivity, accomplishments, feeling good. When you do something right, what feels good is not even the goal. When you see a guy that he builds his new house, it's not even the house that he's enjoying. He loves the house, of course, but he enjoys the work that he put into building it. When a person loves his spouse, he loves the work that he put in the relationship. When a person makes money on a deal, it doesn't make a difference what it is. The happiness is not just the money he gets, the true happiness is the work he had to sweat and put into it. Happiness is the productivity that you put into life. That is what makes a person happy, is how hard he works and what he accomplishes in this world. And that's why if you look deep in your life, the things that make you happy, the things that make a person happy are his relationships, are his job, are his goals, his aspirations, someone that's giving, someone that's accomplishing, someone that's growing on themselves, transforming, because that person is non-stop accomplishing. That person is non-stop fulfilling their potential. And let's go just one step deeper. Imagine it like this. Imagine 2 aliens in a UFO are flying in space, right? And imagine the 2 aliens, they're flying around, and all of a sudden their ship loses orbit, and it goes out of the sky, lands where all UFO lands? Las Vegas. Say for example, right? Lands directly on the strip of Las Vegas, right behind the Encore Hotel, a UFO lands on the golf course. Chazaka Baruch, the two aliens get out, these two creatures, they're like, whoa, if people notice us, they're gonna kick us out, maybe we should go back. And Alien 1 turns to Alien 2 and he says, listen, I've always wanted to come to Earth. I want to see what this is all about, Area 51, the humans, what does it look like, Chuck? I need to see it. I heard so much on our planet, I need to see it for myself. So Alien 1 looks at Alien 2, he says, okay, you're right, let's do it. So they disguise themselves in hoodies and whatever so no one should recognize them. And they go out to Las Vegas. And they go out there, and as they're there, a guy notices them. And the guy looks at them and he says, hey, you guys look a little strange, what's going on with you? And they go, listen, buddy, we're aliens, we're from outer space, we're just here for like half an hour, don't call the cops, we don't have any problems, we just want to experience the world. Can you give us a tour of Earth for half an hour? The guy goes, no problem, I've grown up in Las Vegas, let me give you a tour of the best city in the world. He goes, okay. So Alien 1 and Alien 2, they go out with this guy Jimmy, and Jimmy starts showing them Vegas, so he takes them to the casino, and they see people gambling and drinking, and the alien's like, what's going on here? And Jimmy starts explaining, you know, people, they make money and they gamble it and they make more money, sometimes they lose money, this happens, that happens. They're like, what are these hotels? There's these developers, Richfield, they develop, they're like, wow. And they're like, they see a restaurant, a guy and his wife, they're like, that's called romance. The guy and his wife are having dinner, it's beautiful. Then they go to the water fountain and they're like, wow, this is so beautiful. And the cars they drive, and those are kids, and everyone's here to have a good time. This is a vacation destination, it's amazing. All of a sudden, as they're going out, they saw restaurants, they saw hotels, they saw money, they understood the concept of life. But all of a sudden, as they're walking down the strip, they take a turn, and all of a sudden they go down, and there's an LA Fitness. Everyone's familiar with LA Fitness here? Everyone knows what it is? Equinox? Whichever one you know, it's a gym. They walk down, and they see a gym. And inside the gym, all of a sudden, the Alien 1 looks inside, and he starts staring in, and he sees some guy in there, and he's bench pressing like 200 pounds, and he's screaming, he's like, ah! And he's going crazy, and he's pushing the weights as hard as he can, he's going as hard as he can, and then he looks and he sees a lady running out like the Stairmaster, and she looks like she's dying, she's red in the face, she's sweating, she can barely breathe, and she's pushing, and there's a guy next to her yelling and saying, keep going, and the guy in the bench press also has someone, he's like, keep pushing, and they see the guy sweating, and he's screaming in his veins, and Alien 1 is like, I can't see it anymore, I can't, and he grabs Alien 2, and they're like, let's get out of here. And they look at Jimmy and they're like, bro, this place was crazy. And then Jimmy looks at them and he's like, listen, what's bothering you? I don't get it. I took you guys to everywhere in Vegas. I took you to the casinos, the restaurants. I showed you even the local prison. You guys had no problem with the prison when I told you that someone stole, someone murdered, someone kidnapped. We put them away in jail so they serve their time for the punishment. Why are you tripping out about the gym? So they said, what do you mean? I understand why they went to jail. They did something wrong. But why do they deserve to go to this place called the GYM? Why did you torture them with the GYM? What did they do? Did they bomb a whole country? Did they kill everyone? And then Jimmy looks at me, he's like, guys, what are you talking about? He said, everyone in the gym is paying to be there. And the two aliens are sitting there looking at each other and they're just like, the people in the gym were paying, that lady's paying to be tortured, that guy's paying to bench press and have someone screaming at him to push. Why in the world would they put themselves through that? Why would they do that? And Jimmy looks at him and he's like, what do you mean? They're paying to be there, they're happy to be there. And the Alien 1, Alien 2 say, what do you mean happy to be there? I don't get this. This is the exact mashal of what this world is meant to be in God's eyes. Exactly what we just said. This world is the place to be productive. This world is the place where you bench press. This is the world where Hashem puts on the Stairmaster and it gets harder and harder. And the weight gets heavier and heavier. If you look at this world and you look at it and you're saying, hey, I'm paying to be here, this should be a spa, and I'm going to treat this like a jacuzzi, and I'm trying to relax, you're going to be the most miserable person in the world because you miss the purpose of being there. You're like the alien that doesn't get it. The purpose of the gym, the reason people are paying there is because they understand that not only in the moment, not only when they're in the gym pushing, the pleasure they get, the sensation they get, not only on the weekend when they look better, and they feel good about themselves and they're more ripped and they're more in shape, not only they're doing it for that, but in the moment itself, when they're in the gym, when they're pushing, that is the ultimate pleasure. Why? Because they know they're working towards a goal. And they're willing to pay $300 a month and have someone scream in their ear to do that. Because they understand that this is a place in order to work hard, and it feels great to go to the gym, and it feels better when you get those results because of the work I put in. You can look at this world and say, wow, this world is a gym. Hashem put every single person here in order that we all work hard. Hashem wants every single person here in order to go through this world and build themselves to get to their ultimate potential. And every single person here is on a different level, but Hashem is putting you here in order that you work hard and push yourself. Why? Because productivity is the ultimate happiness. The ultimate happiness is when a person works hard. What is Olam Haba? Olam Haba is when you get out of the gym and you're like, wow, I'm in great shape, I look great. Olam Hazeh is the place where you're working out. If you fight this, I guarantee you the rest of your life will be the most miserable experience. Why? Because you are trying to turn a gym into a jacuzzi and it won't work. You're trying to turn the gym into a sauna, and every single time you can fight it. I have people that fight me all the time, older people, younger people, no problem. So they'll come and they'll say, hey, religion is BS, I don't really believe, no problem, it's not. I guarantee you when there's a funeral or someone's sick, all those people are calling the rabbis. All those people all of a sudden are like, how do I do teshuvah? All of a sudden, Sichot of the Kotel Yom Kippur, you can't have, there's no airspace to breathe, but 3 hours before, all those people are doing who knows what. Why? Because deep down, they understand what's important in life is utilizing your potential, is fulfilling your potential. All these other things that we do, they feel good, they're fun, they're great, do it. But then all of a sudden, you have to be ready to say, why does life come with all these challenges? Why does Hashem give all these problems? Why do all these things happen? Why does Hashem fill it up with so much pain? That's what I always ask people. I say, okay, no problem, religion is nonsense. Then if this is not the purpose of life, it's to be happy, right? So then we go back to the 3 doors. Why is there so much pain in the world? I'll ask you a better question. Why would Hashem make it only 80 years long? Why would Hashem make it 80 years long? Why wouldn't it be forever?
So you value every day that you live.
Very good. But if the purpose is to have pleasure all the time, why don't we just go? Why is it not infinite? Why is there no problems?
This is not the purpose.
Exactly. If you fight the purpose, you are fighting against the current. If you understand this is your purpose, you'll have the happiest life in the world. You know where? Not in Olam Haba, in this world. The happiest people in this world are the ones that are serving God because they understand what this world is all about. Every single thing that happens to them, they have an explanation. Because they have emunah. They understand that this is to build me. A shidduch didn't work out. This is in order to make me find the right soulmate. What do I need to work on? My parents, I was brought up in a certain home. What am I supposed to gain from these parents that are supposed to build me? I got this, I'm struggling financially. Whatever it may be that every single person struggles with, you could look at it and be like, Hashem screwed me over, or Hashem doesn't exist, or the purpose of life is to build myself, and I'm going to take it head on. I'm going to bench press 200, and every single day in my life is going to be such an amazing experience because it's filled with so much purpose. It's filled with so much productivity. Or you could choose and say, it's not true, it's nonsense. Keep chasing what the TV tells you, and you'll see. You're having fun, but does it really lead you to happiness? Is it really a life of happiness? Look at the life that the religious Jews, the marriage that they're having, and compare it to the non-Jews. Tell me which one is happy. Tell me a rabbi that has the smallest apartment in Yerushalayim. I'm sure everyone has this experience. You see the guy, he literally can't move his apartment, and he's the happiest guy in the world. And you see billionaires that have it all, and they're miserable, and they have nothing, and they're chasing and chasing and chasing. All Judaism is telling you is I want you to have the happiest life in the world. In this world and in the next. How do you get your life in the next world? People have a big misunderstanding. They think, oh, if I'm a good Jew, then I go to Olam Haba. If I'm a bad Jew, I go to hell. It's not true. This is the biggest lie in the world. The truth is, people need to understand heaven and hell is really just an enhancement of whatever position you're in this world. However close of God you are in this world gets enhanced in the next world. The definition of hell is not a place where they're going to burn you alive. That's not what it is. The definition of hell means you get to a place where the only currency that matters is your relationship with God and the good things that you did. And the only thing you have no currency, you're out of money. That's hell. And heaven is when it all matters of how close you are, how good of a person you are, how well you treated people. And all that's valued there is how good of a person you are, how close you are to the creator of the world. Heaven and hell is just enhancing what you have here. The ultimate pleasure starts in this world. Now you just pay attention for 1 second. Look at what the Torah is telling you. Have a meaningful life. I want you to take challenges and I want you to grow from them. Everyone else is going to get miserable and lose their minds and get drunk and not know what's going on. I want you to take every challenge and know it's for the best. I want you every time that you're building a marriage is to have children and build a home and have a legacy. I want every single experience you have, you drink this bottle of water, another person that says water, you made a shakol and you uplifted, you transformed something that was physical and you made it spiritual. You have an opportunity to take this world and life and make it the most beautiful life and fill it with purpose and meaning and happiness and Shabbat and Chagim and closest to the creator of the world. And I'll tell you one thing. Maybe half the room here is thinking, maybe he's right, maybe he has a point. Other room's thinking, nah, it's BS, it's better to have a good time. Okay, I leave you with this thought. When was the last time you went to a funeral? B'ezrat Hashem, no one here should ever go to a funeral ever again. Should only hear smachot. But when is the last time you ever went to a funeral in your life? And what is the person talking about when they're talking about the person that died? Let's say the coffin is over here. And you see them talking, and they start saying what they're going to say, right? I've never heard in my entire life ever, no matter where I've been, Israel, it doesn't make a difference to anyone in the world. I've never heard a levaya, a funeral, where what the guy's talking about, whether it be the rabbi, the father, the brother, the person is his best friend, no one is talking. This guy was the best businessman. He would close deals, you don't even know how good he was in office. You don't even know. This guy was the freshest guy in the gym. You don't even know. This guy was sick. This guy had 4,000 likes on Instagram. You don't even know. When he went on vacation, he knew the best destinations. No one's saying that. No one's talking about that. They're all saying the same thing. Look what kind of father he was. Look what he did for other people. Look how much he worked on himself. Look how much kindness he did. Look how happy he was. Look how positive he was. Look how much charity he gave. Look how much he built himself up. Because at the end of the day, when a person's sitting there going into the ground, we all wake up and we get a flash of clarity of what it's all about. It's about the real purpose. It's about something bigger than this world. When you see a body that's physical and it's going down, you end up getting that flash of, wow, I could either waste my life and get to a place and get to my funeral and everyone's going to talk about all the things that are not even true about me, or I can actually utilize my life and realize this is what it's all about. This is the true purpose. This is happiness. This is what the ultimate pleasure is realizing that this world is just a place to be in the gym and push and work, and getting closer to God is the ultimate happiness. I'll leave everyone off with one story that I think is very, very, very special. Imagine there's a husband and a wife. And the husband and the wife, they have no money. So the wife turns to the husband, she's like, listen, honey, you gotta get a job. There's no money here. You can't get hired by anyone. What are you gonna do? And the guy goes out and he tries going to every single business on his block, and he tries to become a shoemaker, doesn't work out. He tries to give classes, it doesn't work out. He tries to get into the stock market, it doesn't work out. Every single thing he's doing is not working. All of a sudden he goes to the bar that night, he bumps into his friend, and he tells his friend what's going on. He says, yo, Tom, why you look so depressed? And the guy's like, you don't understand. I have no money, I have 2 kids, my wife is depressed, she wants to divorce me with the kids, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So the guy looks at him, he's like, listen, he's like, I know you can't find a job, and he's like, I just got fired from the newspaper factory. He's like, I know we all have bad news, but I have good news. He said, someone in the factory leaked me information. He said there's a new island close to Miami, about a 4-hour boat ride away from here. He said, it's a place where you go to, you have to take this boat, it's the only way to get there because planes, they can't make it through the wind, it's too powerful to get there by anything other than this big boat. And it takes a 4-hour journey. But on the way back, the only way to get back is you have to go all the way around because due to the location of the island, and it takes you about another 2 months you have to be there because the way the boat comes back to pick us up. So 4 hours, you get there very quick, but by the time that boat is back, it's about a 2-month period. So the guy looks at him, he's like, listen, 2 months, leave my wife and kids, it's gonna be hard, I don't know if I'm gonna do it. But he's like, you know what, 2 months, an opportunity to go and to make my family rich. You're telling me there's diamonds on this planet? I have to do it. The guy goes 100%, him and Tom, they go, he tells his wife. His wife's like, what do you mean? I gotta raise the kids by myself. But he's like, listen, if this is true, even if he's wrong, he said, there could be diamonds there. He said, we could be rich. We never have to worry about money again. So the wife's like, you know what? 100% you're right. I never wanna worry about money. Get on the boat, come back as fast as you can. Okay, long story short, he says bye to his kids, he packs his bags. He gets on the boat, within 4 hours they're there, the boat leaves. 2 months he's locked in, he knows that absolutely no one's coming to pick him up. He goes on the island, and all of a sudden, one day goes by, they start camping, they don't see anything. Within the first week, on the 7th day, they travel into the center of the island where they set the diamonds out, they follow the map, him and his friend, and all of a sudden, they see diamonds everywhere. And this guy just stops, and he's like, there's diamonds all around. He's like, I thought this was a lie. I thought, we're gonna have to mine for it. I didn't know this was possible. How come no one knew about this? And the guy looks at Tom and he's like, listen, shut up. Let's collect as many as we can and let's get out of here. So they start collecting diamonds and they make these bags. They get the tree material, they start making bags. They start collecting the diamonds one by one, and they start collecting diamonds and they start filling up bags each day. with all the stuff that they're able to cut, with all the tools that they came with. It took them some time, but every day they're able to fill a full bag of diamonds. A week goes by, 2 weeks go by, all of a sudden they see some Indian guy. Some Indian guy starts coming towards them and they get nervous, like, yo, this guy lives here, he's gonna come tell us that we can't take his diamonds. And the Indian guy comes there and he says, what are you guys doing? And he says, we came mining for diamonds. He said, what have you been eating? They said, we've been eating rainwater, we've been making plans for ourselves, very important. He said, listen, we have food, we have everything, come live with us. So 2 weeks in, they have a month and a half left, they're like, we don't know if we're gonna survive, let's go live with this guy, we don't know him. They go, they have camp, they have tents, and all of a sudden they get into their village, and all of a sudden they see these big onions everywhere. These nice gold onions, like the nicest onions they've ever seen. So they sit down, they have fish, they're eating, whatever, they give them a nice meal, and they said, why'd you guys come here? And they said, we came to collect diamonds, we're poor, we need money. So the Indian guy looks at them and he's like, listen, you guys are fools. He said, over here, these diamonds aren't worth anything. These diamonds are nothing, they're worthless. He says, over here, if you could find these gold onions, he said, it's the hardest thing to find because we have very small hands, Indians, and you have to sort through them. And these onions are worth so much. If you get these onions, you get salmon, you get a place to sleep, you'll be the king of the whole clan over here. So the guy's like, wow, we need to live here, whatever, let's do it. So all of a sudden, the guy starts going out, him and Tom, and the guy worked in a newspaper factory. So all of a sudden, his buddy taught him how to shuffle his hands, how to sort it out very well. And next thing you know, they're able to sort through the dirt faster than anyone there, and they start collecting onions. One gold onion, another gold onion. They come back day with a whole bag of onions. They collected more in one day than all the 20 people in the tribe could do in a month. All of a sudden, they became the king of the village within a week. They had more onions in them. They were getting all the food. People were serving them. People were giving them everything. And every day they would come with a new bag of onions. Long story short, 2 months comes. His friend looks at Tom, the guy, and he's like, listen, 2 months, the boat is coming, we can't miss it. They eat their final meal, they run to the boat. They get on the boat with all their bags, they say bye to their Indian friends. And they get there, and they arrive at the home, and Tom gets up, he knocks on the door, shows up, he's all excited. He looks at his wife, and he says to her, he's like, honey, she's like, tell me it was true. And he said, honey, you have no idea, oh, was it true? He said, the place is exactly what I expected. She said, you got the diamonds? He's like, oh, I got it. And he's like, you're gonna be rich for the rest of your life, you're gonna be the top, you're gonna be the king, you never have to worry. She's so excited, she's like, come in, but then she's like, wait. What does that smell? What does that smell? I know you haven't showered in 2 months, but why does it smell like onions? And all of a sudden she looks behind the husband, she sees the 10 bags that he carried in his hand. She's like, why does it smell like onions? She opens one of the bags, she looks inside, and there's onions inside, these gold onions. And she's like, are the diamonds inside the onions? She's like, honey, where are the diamonds? And he's like, honey, you're so foolish. Don't you know the diamonds aren't worth anything? It's all about the gold onions. I know how funny this sounds. If you really want to know, this is exactly the reaction you just had, is the reaction you have when you go to the next world and you see your neshama outside. And you see all the fun and all the money, all the times you were with a girl or a guy and you had fun and you smoked this and you smoked that and you went on that vacation and you thought you had it, and you show up to Hashem with a bag of onions. Because all the neshama wants to see in this world is, I wanted diamonds. I wanted a kippah once a day, once a week. I wanted Shabbat for an hour. I wanted tzitzit. I wanted shmir t'anaim. I wanted amunah. I wanted lashon hara. I wanted something from you in this village that you're here for such a limited time. I wanted the diamonds, and all you brought me back is onions. B'ezrat Hashem, everyone needs to understand, Hashem loves every single person here. Hashem put us in this world not to make us have a hard life or anything. Hashem gives everyone opportunity for growth. He wants everyone to reach the ultimate level of happiness, and everyone needs to clearly understand Hashem is not expecting anyone to jump to 1,000 in 1 second. Hashem wants everyone just to realize He loves you. He put you here because He wants you to work. He wants you to get closer. On your own level, you start small, but ultimately Hashem wants a diamond.